Here we go. This is the end. One last time, I'm Jason Rody. This is Canadian Culture Through Film, Week 15. Our final class coming to you live from Nomad Studios in the heart of the Miland in Montreal. We have 21 great students from Burlington, Vermont that have been joining us every week. And this week we're going to be getting your final presentations from the second half of the class. And well, before we get right into that, I want to mention a couple of things. One thing is that the best teacher I've ever had, Mr. Peter Ashworth at Stansted College when I was in high school, passed away yesterday morning or yesterday night. His wife found out in the morning. He passed in his sleep. And I thought it was interesting because I was thinking about my experience with you over the past 15 weeks, how much not just I enjoyed it, but I learned from the experience, really, of taking this journey of learning with you. And Mr. Ashworth was he was our house director at Stansted. He was also a math teacher, and he taught other classes for me, but he was a really tough teacher, and what made the difference and the reason why I really connected with him and ended up asking the second year I was at the college for him to become my advisor, despite him being the toughest teacher I had, was that he was the first person to look at me as a leader. And he spoke to me as such, and I would disappoint him sometimes, and he would tell me, this is not how leaders act, you know? So the fact that he looked at me and saw someone better than I saw myself, it really, it helped change my self-image, and it's something I never forgot. I always connect back at that, at the way that he changed the way I look at myself, and I like to still think of myself as a leader in my own way. And so as we conclude this class, it made me think to tell you that you are really the way you perceive yourself to be. It's that self-image and that will create who you are ultimately. You're still in your real formative years, and they'll continue throughout your life, I hope. But you come to a time when you realize that the way that you saw yourself when you were just about the age you are now, the way that you started perceiving who you are is the person you will become. So I thought I should mention that to you because it's a great gift that a great teacher gave me. The second thing I wanted to mention, besides mentioning Mr. Peter Ashworth, an incredible teacher and friend, is that I got vaccinated yesterday, which is nice. I'm not feeling any sick or anything of the sort, but it's a good sign that we're moving on to something new, you know. And I don't think we'll ever go back to normal. At least I hope not. I hope we retain the best of what we had to learn from the past year or so. And I know many of you have been vaccinated as well. It's been a rocky kind of semester, you could say, and because of that, you know, some of you even got COVID during the class, and I don't know how that went, but I'm sure it affected your studies. But were it not for the pandemic, we wouldn't have had this class together. So I'm grateful for that, and I hope that's part of the new normal. Another thing I wanted to mention is this YouTube comment we had on the class a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to mention this last week, but I forgot. And so I'm mentioning it now. This was on the class we had on Xavier Dolan. And I think some of you read this comment. Here it goes. Canada Film Day is nothing but a joke. Ask your average Canadian on the street to name 5 Canadian films and see if they can do it. The problem with Canadian cinema is that most productions in Canada are produced by foreign production companies with tax incentives and grants to employ Canadian workers and not to promote Canadian culture. Funding is otherwise restricted to the CBC, Telefilm Canada, and university film schools. Distribution, even in film festivals, is geared for releases by Telefilm Canada and film school graduates, not independent Canadian productions. What was the last Canadian-made film about a Canadian story that you saw in the theater? Not in a festival nor an art house theater. Your featured director, Xavier Dolan, is a great example. Lots of awards, but seldom seen in Canadian theaters outside of Quebec. Thanks to venues in Quebec, France, and Italy, Mommy from 2014 and Juste la fin du monde 2016 are his only financially successful films. Now, this comment from Rizologist, I think is full of truth. It's not all true. There's some things that are not exactly right, but there's a lot right in that. And so I thought it was interesting. It's the kind of thing I've been trying to tell you about, and not just saying, yeah, it's great here, you know, we have our movies funded, but they're doing that to keep our culture, of course, the Canadian culture, but there's economic reasoning behind that as well, to bring productions from outside of Canada. And there's a lot of elitism that goes on with the funding of films here in Canada. And you got to wonder, has it served the Canadian films in general? Of course, we've made more films had we not had the funding for them, but perhaps the quality of the films is suffered from having this kind of money. Maybe not. Anyways, these are questions without answers, but I thought these comments were very interesting from someone that just saw the class from the outside, and I can understand the frustrations that this person feels about all of this, as many filmmakers here do, and also taxpayers. A lot of taxpayers feel this way about the way that Canadian films or culture in general are funded. So I thought it important to bring it up, and I thought it was great as well that some people are watching from outside of this closed group, and that's bringing us an interesting feedback. That's what I've always loved about the internet. At the very beginning of, in the late 90s, I started posting things online that were barely done sometimes, just to get that kind of feedback from the outside world. Sometimes you don't get any comments or even any views, and that tells you something in and of itself. And sometimes it's the other way around. Something will surprise you by getting some kind of comment or a surprising amount of views that you wouldn't have expected. So I think that's a very good thing, to keep yourself open to the world in this way, in what you do, and open to the feedback, of course, good and bad. So moving right along, I'm just going to jump right in.
Robert, good evening.
We've always tried to make sense of the world around us, and we have always had a different perspective.
We are declaring monsoon.
Documentary is really our only true indigenous art form.
Documentary world can influence big changes.
From Tofino, BC to Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, we fought to maintain our Canadian identity.
You can't know who you are unless you know where you come from.
We learned to be inventive. We learned to be imaginative. We had to be.
Canada has a very distinct voice. Because our nation is so unique and dynamic and diverse, our artists' voices are unique and dynamic and diverse.
Distinctly Canadian voice is a story that is worth telling because it has something to say that hasn't been said in the same way a million times before.
And with this voice, this Canadian voice, we offered up magical myths, legends, truths, and tales. We used our heads and our hearts in hopes that viewers would respond emotionally. And they did. We have exported our stories for mass consumption.
It's tumbleweed.
And proudly enjoyed them at home. And we will continue this rich tradition.
You got it? Oh my God! Oh my God!
At this point in time, the best of our filmmakers are just kind of reaching beyond Canada.
Our future is bright.
The whole world are film and television makers now.
Technology's evolving, and so are we.
The beauty of digital is that everybody can play in the digital world.
I think it democratizes the whole process. We need to focus on the fact that new storytellers are being given opportunities, and ultimately what's good always rises to the top.
Our voices will become more distinct.
I want 3 things.
Our voices will become more unique.
Whether it's in a theater or online or you binge watch, I'm optimistic that people want to be moved.
Get the hell out of my way.
What's wonderful about the Canadian film and television industries is this absolute need to communicate against tremendous structural odds.
We were carried here on the backs of the documentarians, movie makers, television producers that came before us.
Get another shot right by the door!
We were carried here by mavericks. We were carried here by rebels.
It's been a long haul. In some respects, I feel like we're at a golden age.
And we will honor them by continuing to tell our great Canadian stories.
This is your canvas. Make a statement.
So today I'm going through a lot of films that I wish I would have taken a whole class to speak about. Specifically, this one, Jesus of Montreal, is a 1989 film by Denis Arcand. And this is his second very famous film. We'll look at the first one right after. It's part of a trilogy that I wanted to group together. And Jesus of Montreal is really an allegory for the story of Jesus taking place in Montreal. It's the story of an actor who takes on the role of Jesus and gathers all of his disciples to play in the play with him. And I just love this film for giving me a vision of what the theater life or the art life could be. And I later met with Lothar Bluteau, the main actor who plays Jesus, who could not have been better cast. I later met him when I was studying at NYU during my last year. I was walking through Washington Square Park, and I walked right past Lothar Bluteau, and I thought, there he is, that's Lothar Bluteau, that's Jesus of Montreal himself. And so I turned right around, I went up to him, I tapped him on the shoulder, and said, excuse me, sir, this is Denis Arcand that we see real quick, who's playing the judge. We're going to talk about Denis Arcand. He's actually the director of this film that we're watching. He plays the judge in Jesus of Montreal, which is an interesting role to give oneself. And so Lothar Bluteau and I ended up having a coffee over about an hour, and he was most generous with his time, with his person in encouraging me to go on with my film studies and career. Now, this is the decline of the American Empire. This is Denis Arcand's film, which was nominated at the Oscars for Best Foreign Film and Best Screenplay. He is the only director who was nominated 3 times in the category for Best Foreign Film. He's the only Canadian director to have achieved this. He's the only one that was that had been nominated twice, and then eventually he was nominated a 3rd time for the Barbarian Invasions. And ended up winning for Best Foreign Film then. And he lost that year again for Best Screenplay against Sofia Coppola, which you mentioned, whose father you mentioned just a little earlier on. Now, this trilogy, the American Empire trilogy, is mostly just a bunch of people, intellectuals really, discussing life and sex, and gives a view of this hedonistic world that we've come to live in and how our values have shifted towards direct pleasures. And it's great. It's a funny movie. It's easy to watch. It's easy to recognize oneself in it, and gives a view of the Canadian and Quebec culture specifically that was really apropos, that was really of its time. And for that reason, it was an immensely popular film, a real financial success. This film came 17 years later and is the sequel to the first film, not the fall of the American Empire, but the decline of the American Empire. This is the Barbarian Invasions, and it's one of the main characters of the first film. We find all of these characters, the same characters, having grown up some 20 years later. And
Présente mon fils Sébastien.
C'est pour des histoires comme ça que tu as détruit ta famille.
One of them is dying essentially of cancer. So all of them are coming together again in the eastern townships where I just bought a house recently, and I'm living now. And so by Lake Memphremagog, a very famous lake, he ends up gathering all of his friends again and trying to see how the world has changed in the last 20 years. And essentially, it looks at
l'argent, c'est pas un problème.
It looks how this decline of the self, of our values, has led us astray, essentially. So this character for whom we have a lot of love, and for whom all of the characters as well in the film have a lot of love,
on se souviendra peut-être de septembre 2001, comme tu
face to face with who they've become and the life that they've led. Finally, this film is not a direct sequel, but it's called The Fall of the American Empire, and it's kind of a thematic sequel by the same director, Denis Arcand again.
Jean-Paul Sartre était stalinien. Heidegger était nazi. C'est ça.
Tu changes absolument rien.
Je suis allé sur un site d'escorte.
Carla McDuff, police de Montréal, mon partenaire, puis la bouffe.
Je leur ai dit que j'étais son ami.
Un gage d'amitié?
Oh boy.
On a des caisses de cash, puis on peut pas s'en servir.
Cet argent-là, tout le monde va le chercher. La personne qui l'a volé va se faire descendre.
Tu l'as amené voir ton argent.
So strangely, this film uses a lot of the same actors in new characters, playing new characters. So you feel that it's a sequel, but it's but obviously it's not. Now I just want to.
C'est ça qui a coulé les États-Unis. L'argent. Croire uniquement en l'argent.
I just wanted you to hear that last line from the film. Now, this film is called Léolo. This is by far one of my favorite films of all time. When I saw it back in the day, it was kind of my favorite film. It's a semi-autobiographical film by Jean-Claude Lauzon, and it's a true masterpiece. Jean-Claude Lauzon made Un Zoo la nuit, A Zoo at Night, and then this film before he passed away in a plane crash with his girlfriend, who's also an actress. So they both passed away in this plane crash, this Cessna that he was driving. I also used to drive the same kind of plane, but was always very nervous. So whenever people would call him Léo, which is the character's name, he would rebuke by saying Léolo, Léolo Lauzon. So this character of Léolo is essentially this boy that's living in the Milan in the 60s and who's in a family of a bunch of crazy people. Essentially, everyone has their own kind of mental disease or dysfunction. And this boy is a dreamer of sorts. So we're living in we're seeing this whole film through his eyes, his past, through his own dreams. And here, Denis Arcand included this scene because Denis Arcand, who directed the first 4 films we just spoke about, plays a part again in Léolo, playing the professor.
Après 1 heure, il remit une page blanche et insista qu'il avait dessiné un lapin blanc dans la neige.
Dans la neige. Sur les 2 côtés.
Mais oui, mais il est là, vous le voyez pas, il est
So
là.
he plays this kid here, Léolo's brother, and essentially he painted a white rabbit on snow, and so it's a blank page on both sides.
Il me disait quoi faire avec un garçon de 14 ans qui va pas à l'école.
And so they kick him out of school for that reason.
Ça pourra pas continuer comme ça.
This is a horrible Google translation you have below here, automatic YouTube translation. And this film is, or the story that it tells of Jean-Claude Lauzon, or of Léo really, is about this boy that imagines that his mother fell in these tomatoes when she was, before she was pregnant, and she was impregnated by an Italian man who had masturbated onto these tomatoes. And so by falling onto the tomatoes, she ends up with a tomato inside of her, and because of this, he believes that he is not the son of his father, but rather the son of an Italian man. And he's also in love with this Italian neighbor of his called Bianca. And so he essentially doesn't want to belong to his own culture, to his own family. And we don't talk about film, we really talk about dreams in Léolo. But knowing how semi-autobiographical this film is, it's essentially this kid that dreams of a life of making art, making poetry, and films eventually. But stuck in this culture that is of small people and small things. Much like I viewed my own culture when I was a kid. I didn't grow up in Montreal, in the back alleys of Montreal, the way Jean-Claude Lauzon did. Now, but I could relate to this character to such a degree that the film, I must have watched this film 15, 20 times. About 5 years ago, I invited the main actor of this film, who's not on screen right now, but the main character who plays Léolo, to come and present Léolo here on the big screen at Nomad. It was an incredible night, actually. So strange to watch this film again, sitting by the actor who's now my age. Looks nothing like he used to, and he didn't go on with his acting career beyond this. Now, I put together these 2 scenes here just to show the development of the brother's character. This film is truly considered not just one of the best Canadian films of all time, it's always in the list of the 10 best Canadian films of all time. There's many times it was considered the best Canadian film of all time, but it's also in the AFI's list of best movies of all time, period, like in the best 100 movies. So this film is a true masterpiece. It works like a dream. It has these songs playing and overlapping each other. This is the brother growing up here to become this bodybuilder, and this actor who plays the bodybuilder, this is his only film, so he's a real bodybuilder, and he was cast just as the brother, and there goes his acting career. Yeah, and so what I was talking about, the songs kind of building on each other and repeating themselves. It's like the same song plays about 10 times in the film, and there's like 3 songs like this throughout the film. There's one that's more like a classical theme, there's a Tom Waits song, and there's another one, a kind of folksy little track that keeps coming back, and it just kind of feels like a loop, the whole thing. It makes the whole film kind of go by. It's over 2 hours long, but it feels always kind of short. You can come into the movie at any moment, and you still feel like you're getting the full story. Now, this is the continuation of his brother's story, which is just wonderful. Now, you have the relationship between an Anglophone kid in Montreal and a francophone kid here.
Hey, aujourd'hui tu nous écœureras pas. Tu veux vraiment que mon frère t'arrache la face et qu'il te fasse manger de l'asphalte, hein?
Désolé. Wouhouhou! C'est-tu du vrai ça, hein? Jean-Marc! Et Fernand! Oh! As-tu pris des vitamines pour ton nez? Oh, c'est beau ça, Fernand. Ah, je peux te toucher? Hey, Ken. Hey, tu veux voir quelque chose de beau? Check. Check ça. Là, tu vas voir quelque chose de beau. Hey! Viens-t'en, Fernand. Viens-t'en me battre. Oui, viens-t'en.
Incredible performance by this non-actor, the bodybuilder here.
What are you, chicken shit, Fernand? Viens me battre. Ah ouais!
Viens-t'en, Léo.
Fernand!
Ah ouais, viens-t'en, Fernand, viens me battre.
Fernand!
Fernand, viens me battre. Lâche le pistolet.
Mais Fernand!
Oh, il est joué, viens me battre. Ah ouais, Fernand, viens me battre.
Et ce jour-là, j'ai compris que la peur vivait au plus profond de nous-mêmes.
That day I learned that fear lives in the depths of ourselves, and a mountain of muscles,
soldats ne pouvaient rien y changer.
or 1,000 soldiers could not change that. Now, this is the ending of the film that I'm gonna forward through, but I wanted to include it, even though I didn't find a good version of it, because you get a better film of the sense of the fantasy aspect of the film from this scene than you do from the rest that I've shown you already. This was shot in Sicily, where he imagines he's from, and he's calling out to his neighbor Bianca, whom he can't see in his dreams anymore.
Léo? Mère! Mère! Léo est malade! Mère! Mère!
Léo? Fais-moi pas ça. Pas toi.
So at the very end, Léolo ends up kind of going catatonic as well, going crazy like his sister did. Don't go away.
Fais-moi pas ça. Léo, non.
Parce que moi je rêve.
Because I dream.
Moi je ne le suis pas.
I am not.
Parce que je rêve.
Because I dream.
Je rêve.
I dream.
Parce que je m'abandonne la nuit dans mes rêves.
Because I abandon myself in my dreams. Before I meet the day.
Je n'aime pas.
Because I don't love.
Parce que j'ai eu peur d'aimer.
Because I was scared to love.
Je ne rêve plus.
I don't dream anymore.
Je ne rêve plus.
I don't dream anymore. And throughout the whole film, we keep cutting back to this old man that's kind of in this mansion.
Parce que moi je rêve. Moi je ne le suis pas. Parce que je rêve, je rêve. Parce que je m'abandonne la nuit dans mes rêves.
So he's reading the things that Léolo has left behind, things that he has written, things that he has read. And it's like this kind of collector of memories that doesn't exist in the real world. He really exists in the mind.
Il faudra diminuer la dose de l'argactyle à 100 mg intramusculaire.
Je ne rêve plus. Je ne rêve plus.
Je ne rêve plus. Je ne rêve plus.
Okay. So you see as well in everything we've seen already today, there's an influence of the Catholic influence on all of society. Something that we didn't speak enough of really to discuss Canadian and especially Quebec culture.
Vous la dame, vous l'audacieuse mélancolie, qui d'un cri solitaire fendez ma chair que vous offrez à l'ennui. Vous qui hantez mes nuits quand je ne sais plus que je vais prendre de
La Vallée des avalés, which means the swallower swallowed.
Crestfallen sidekick in an old cafe. Never slept with a dream before he had to go away. There's a bell in the tower, Uncle Ray brought around. Don't worry about the army in the cold, cold ground. Cold, cold
Vous la dame, vous l'audacieuse mélancolie, qui d'un cri solitaire fendez ma chair que vous offrez à l'ennui. Vous qui hantez mes nuits quand je ne sais plus quel chemin prendre de ma vie, je vous ai payé 100 fois mon dû. avec les braises du songe, ne me reste que les cendres d'une onde du mensonge que vous-même m'aviez dit d'entendre, et la blanche plénitude, qui n'était pas comme la vieille interlude, mais brune d'état à la cheville fine et maligne, qui m'a piqué la peine d'un sein pointu en qui j'ai cru, et qui ne m'a laissé que le remords d'avoir vu le jour naître sur ma solitude.
Give me a Winchester rifle and a whole box of shells. Blow the roof off the goat barn, let it roll down the hill. The piano is firewood, Times Square is a dream. I found we'll lay down together in the cold, cold ground. The cold, cold ground. Cold, cold ground.
Vers les docks où le poids et l'ennui me courbent le dos.
I am moving on now to Jean-Marc Vallée's work, specifically with two films. This one is called C.R.A.Z.Y, that's C.R.A.Z.Y. And the boy here to the left, who's playing the character when he was younger, is Jean-Marc Vallée's son, actually. Now I'm fast forwarding to the transformation scene in C.R.A.Z.Y where you see the character grow older. It's a really nice transition. See, he loses his religion. Isn't that interesting? So you have the new actor now. That's Marc-André Godin. When he was younger, you remember him as the brother in Tu dors, Nicole. He was just a teenager then. It's worth mentioning that Jean-Marc Vallée is gay, and this film is semi-autobiographical again. It's semi-autobiographical for him and for the writer of the film, whose name is François Boulet. And essentially, the whole film deals with homophobia. How he's trying to come to terms with his own sexuality and the way that the world perceives homosexuality and Now you should remember that ring of smoke.
Que la messe de minuit était courte et agréable en athée que j'étais devenu. J'avais quand même tenu ma promesse. Jamais je n'avais manqué la messe.
He never misses
de minuit. Une fois
midnight
par année,
mass once a year at Christmas. This is the day that
ça lui fermait la trappe.
This character was born on Christmas Day, so on the same day as Jesus.
Tracks for troubadours who get killed before they reach
ground control to Major Tom.
8, 7, 6.
Commencing countdown, engines on.
2.
Check ignition, and may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade, and the papers want to know whose shirt you wear.
So I'd be remiss not to mention the links I ended up finding between Léolo and C.R.A.Z.Y. It seems to be telling the same story, essentially, in the same kind of setting, but just of two different people. And it's the personality of those two different people that makes the film and the story essentially quite different, but they're both coming-of-age stories.
There's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you
Tu finis de te prendre cette petite fif-là. Hein? Tu me fais passer pour une gang de caves, là. Faites l'air!
This is a milk ad that Jean-Marc Vallée made. And you see here, you remember this boy? He was playing the young character at the beginning in the car. Now he's grown up. And this is also Jean-Marc Vallée's son. Now, this beautiful boy also ended up becoming Jean-Marc Vallée's editor. So now he's editing all of Jean-Marc's films. And she also plays in Café de Flore, that we're gonna see right after this. I wanted to show you this ad just because, again, it's an ad, you know, it's not art, as we discussed, but it's nice to see the style adapted for this kind of purpose. Same actors, that sort of thing. Okay, now we're going to get into one of my favorite films of the past 10 years called Café de Flore. Now notice this plane here that you didn't hear it, but you saw it blow up. This is the beginning of the film, and we're going to watch at least the first 10 minutes straight up of this movie. Now, I also have two daughters. So the actor here is called Kevin Parent, and he's actually, he hasn't played in that many movies. He's mostly a singer here. He's a Quebec singer. In this film, he plays a DJ, and he does such an amazing job of it. He's so charismatic in the role. I can't believe he's not in a lot more work, but yeah, Jean-Marc really got the best out of him.
Do you believe in soulmates? I like like the concept that someone, somewhere, is meant to be with you forever.
Il t'appelle comment? Flore. Et toi? Laurent. T'es pas un peu jeune pour avoir une amoureuse?
Even though I am happy now, I still feel I fucked it up somehow. Fucked up my life, my family's. Like I don't deserve to live anymore. If it's a soulmate, it's not supposed to end, right? It's not supposed to happen twice in a lifetime.
Hey, tu es là?
Je mets d'autres choses.
Yes. C'est une couple de mois qu'on l'endure, celle-là.
It's really crazy how much this movie relates to my life. This is his ex in the film, and the mother of his two daughters. And it is wild how much she looks like my ex, and how his new girlfriend is his younger girlfriend, blonde. Kind of looks like mine as well. Charlotte and I are going to have been together for 5 years now, soon. Soon in 5 days. Another link with my own life, I'm not a DJ, but for years I was a VJ, you know, mixing visuals in clubs like this. And I went, you know, not all over the world, but I traveled doing this for years. It was my life. I'd find myself in this sort of setting. And it was strange for me because I never really liked going into clubs or parties unless I was hired to be there.
Donne plus de punch à ce qui s'en vient.
Jean-Marc Vallée also directed, well, before he directed this movie, he made a movie called Young Victoria with Emily Blunt. And then after Café de Flore, he made Dallas Buyers Club. And then later on he made Wild with Reese Witherspoon. So he's incredible with actors. You know, and he really went beyond Quebec. So he used his son as to play the younger character again, just like he was the same kid in C.R.A.Z.Y. And that same kid is now his editor, as I mentioned earlier.
You know.
That's his ex here. And she's having visions of this kid with Down syndrome. She keeps, I get chills watching this. Same thing with Léolo, I was getting the same kind of chills, literally. I just love these movies so much.
Au ciel.
Okay, now what are we doing here, right?
Au ciel.
This whole movie takes place in two different times. In France, some, maybe 30 years prior. And it's the relationship between this mother and this boy with Down syndrome.
au ciel.
And both stories don't seem connected. But believe me, they are. Now, this actress is Vanessa Paradis. I don't know if you've ever heard of Vanessa Paradis. She's a French singer. She became an actress later on. And she went on to marry Johnny Depp, actually, with whom they had I think a couple of kids. Her daughter now, Johnny Depp and her daughter is now starting her acting career.
Pour stimuler tous les organes moteurs du corps. Qu'est-ce que je t'avais dit?
Okay, I'm going to skip this scene, but I wanted to show you a little bit of it anyway because, this is the scene where he ends up meeting the girl for whom he's going to leave his ex. It's not what happened to me. I met the love of my life, Charlotte, after my ex had left me, but this seemed like a moment I had experienced, not so much the falling in love, but the party itself. And you might remember that we went into this building together to meet Alexandre on Mount Royal Street.
C'est qui ça? C'est quoi déjà? Tu parles à Tom, la fille?
See, the guy he was just talking to is Jean-Marc Vallée. He's the director of the film. You barely saw him. So this loft where they shot this, I'm pretty sure is the same place that we were when we went to meet Alex. And I was telling you, I was telling Alex I have memories of parties in this building. And sure enough, as I was revisiting this, I thought, well, it seems like Jean-Marc Vallée has those same memories. This is the Parc La Fontaine. You could see this park behind me earlier on in the class.
Stoner's nonsense, right? Sorry, man. Old habit.
I like that you're noticing, how we fluently, really that's the word, not just fluidly, but fluently go between French and English in Montreal. That's very Montreal. It's not so much Quebec. It's a real Montreal thing. The whole film is edited like this. Overlapping these moments together, creating connections where you wouldn't normally see some. Basically these are lovers meeting for the first time. And here you have these two kids with Down syndrome meeting and connecting for the first time. I've always had a strange affinity for people with Down syndrome. I find, actually in the video clip for this song, in the music video for this song that we're hearing, you have people with Down syndrome dancing in a field with angel wings. And it comes from this saying that it's as if they are fallen angels. They're angels that are living among us. And there's a purity to their way of feeling. They wear their hearts on their sleeves, I think is the expression. And I've had a couple of friendships with some people with Down syndrome, and I have some kind of connection. I guess for that reason, for this connection they have to their own emotions. It's something I really admire, and that I try to have for myself. And I try to share that with my girls too. Like Jane, my oldest daughter, she's kind of like that. She has an easy time crying over beautiful things. So she comes to understand that that those two, that essentially he was her son in her past life, and they all died together. She killed them both, while killing herself, and so they were all born around the same time, and this is all very subtle throughout the film, and you really have to piece it together. It's very poetic, and you could almost think that it's not real, that it's just the way that she ended up feeling.
You're doing well and spending these final hours in peace with your loved ones. Rest assured that we will make every effort to keep the gas flowing right until the end.
Coming up on the last night on the planet, and you're listening to C.R.A.Z.Y.
So Last Night is written by Don McKellar, directed by Don McKellar, starring Sandra Oh and Don McKellar, as well as someone else you just recognized. There was Sarah Pauly as well that was just mentioned. You found Sarah in The Sweet Hereafter last week. So this is the Last Night, and the whole movie through is the sun never goes down.
Hi, Mom. Hi, I'm sorry.
Let's go. There may be some unfamiliar faces in here.
Hi.
Your esteemed grandmother.
There he is. Oh, you look so handsome in that
Rose?
suit.
Yes, well, Rose.
You remember Rose
Edmonton?
from Edmonton.
Rose.
Dear
from
sister
Edmonton.
Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex.
Alex, I thought that was you. I didn't know you back in the picture. I thought you'd fled to
Patrick.
to the hills with you.
Patrick, shut up.
He comes back when it counts.
Yeah, but I'm surprised you could come. I thought you'd have some big family thing, some big pig roast
Patrick?
or something. What? I'm greeting him like a brother.
You're being obnoxious.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Don't pay any attention. He's trying to be funny.
Actually, we are going to my parents after.
So, let's enjoy the time we have.
We were just opening the stockings.
So here they're like recreating
You already started?
Christmas
We couldn't wait forever.
for his
I don't
last
know.
night on Earth,
Maybe
or
there
their
isn't
last
anything
night on
left.
Earth. You never understand why
For one thing,
the
it's
world is
not
ending
really
like this.
Christmas today, is it, Mom? And for another thing, it's the end of the world. The world is ending tonight at midnight, and that's kept me pretty occupied lately.
Strangely enough, the same year this film came out,
I'll check
there
the
was
dinner.
two other movies that came out. One called Deep Impact, and another called
Would it hurt you to
Armageddon.
play along just once?
Two very different films from each
Means a
other,
lot
but
to her, to have
all
her
three
family.
films have in common that
Today
it's-
of all days.
it was the end of the world that year.
C.K.R.A.Z.Y. with you until the end.
This is 1998. I'm gonna let you figure out who this actor is. Have you figured it out yet?
So, juice.
Oh, perfect.
Tropical punch.
You treat me so well.
Well, you get one every day at around now, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I'd try it myself.
I thought you never noticed.
That actress is called C.R.A.Z.Y.
I did.
She's also a singer, and she was married to
So,
Don McKellar.
How goes the battle?
Fine.
And she passed away actually about 10 years ago in 2010.
Even 10 years ago.
From
We'd have
cancer.
had to have 8 or 9 stations just to keep the system running.
And this is the gas company here that's keeping the gas running up until the end.
Just you.
And this fabulous actor is David Cronenberg, director of Videodrome.
Oh, I've already got one.
Oh, this? Yes, well, this one's old. You know, flat.
Yeah. Well, keep up the fight. Good evening, this is R. Wheeler. I'm calling from the gas company, and we just wanted to thank you for being our customer over the years. I hope you are doing well and spending these final hours at peace with your loved ones. Rest assured that we will do our utmost to keep the gas flowing right until the end. Thank you, and goodbye.
You have Sandra Oh's character going all over Toronto to try to get home to her lover. The whole film is broken up in hours like this. You recognize this actor as well, I'm sure, from Existence and Double Happiness.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Lily.
I know.
I'm black.
I could tell.
Yeah, 100%.
I believe you. You're perfect. Come on in.
Essentially, his character is spending his last day sleeping with not just as many people as possible, but specific types. You know, he wants to sleep in this case with a black woman.
Drinks?
Cognac.
All right. Cognac it is. More?
No. No. You don't have to.
What I was trying to say out there is that you're very beautiful, and I knew that before. I just want you to know that I'm not doing this because you're black.
Yes, you are. You don't have to lie.
Yeah.
Can I get my ears pierced? You promised me I could get my ears pierced when I was 12, and now I'm 12 and 3 months.
Let's talk about something else.
I hate this.
Silence.
Excuse me, how long have you been waiting?
Almost 20 minutes.
Jeez, where did he go?
Who?
The driver?
What driver?
Arsine Kantian. She is Atom Egoyan's wife, and she also played in The Sweet Hereafter. So you see how this movie last night that I
don't suppose you know
waited
how
to
to
the
drive
last
this thing,
minute
do you?
to show you kind of brings so much of what we've been discussing into the same movie. Filmmakers, actors. Don McKellar had also written The Red Violin. He had written the film by François Girard, also 32 short films about Glenn Gould. This Toronto shot is so Toronto. I almost know exactly where this is shot. And Sandra Oh's performance is so amazing in this film. You feel her distress through every shot.
Spinning this one for the kids.
Done?
Done.
I have a confession to make.
You bad girl. Every day?
For 7 years. At 6 o'clock. No matter what I was doing, what I was supposed to be doing, one drink, my private ritual. But now it's off my chest.
Of course, you know I could fire you for this.
You want one?
I think not, but you go ahead.
Right. You're driving.
You'll call me if you need me?
Now, why would I need you?
That's true. If there's a problem, don't let me down.
Patrick, just promise me you'll call them, okay? Promise.
I promise.
Swear to God.
You be good.
Patrick?
Take care of her.
Can I help you?
This is where I live.
Oh, sorry.
Can I help you?
No. Actually, yes. Do you have a phone?
No, not my person, no.
No, but inside.
There's a payphone in the corner.
That doesn't work.
Well, if that doesn't work, mine won't either.
No, that doesn't work because it's smashed. Please, it's important. Hi, hon, it's me. I thought you said you'd still be there. No, I guess you got off early. Okay, bye. Hello, honey. Honey, where are you? I need you to come pick me up. My car got attacked and I'm stuck here on Phoenix Drive.
364.
364 Phoenix Drive at 538-0398. Call me, please. I'll try you on the car phone.
You gave him my number?
I'm sorry, is that all right?
Stupid cell phones.
Well, here I am. I'm a little bit early. Hope that's not a problem.
No, that's perfect. My friend just left.
We have the place to ourselves.
That's right. Come in.
So this is your apartment, where you live. Isn't it nice?
Is it?
It is. And what had you been doing again?
What do you mean, before?
Before, with your life.
Well, I finished school, finally. And, I took a couple years off. I was going to med school, so I guess I would have been a doctor of some sort.
Oh, that's wonderful. I always knew you had it in you. Isn't it nice how things worked out so well and you grew up so nicely? You're a handsome man.
Thank you.
So...
can I get you something to drink? I have drinks.
Oh, no, I'm fine, thank you.
This is Geneviève Boujol. She's
So, Craig...
kind of a legendary actress.
You probably won't want to hear this, but
from
I
Montreal.
saw your stepmother at the Super Save last week, and she has met another man and married him, as you may know. And she made me promise that if I ran into you, I would tell you that you're welcome if you want to join their circle.
Their circle, right?
Their prayer circle. They're all meeting at Mel Lastman Square, and for the 24 hours leading to the end, they're going to pray for the souls of humanity. Of course, you've missed the beginning by now, but I'm sure you can join in whenever you come.
Well, as much as that sounds like fun.
So the whole awkwardness of the film, of the writing, of the acting is so Canadian. You know, we have this kind of polite awkwardness that permeates through this film in a way that I feel no other film does. Also appreciate that this famous actress, she's played in many American films as well, has retained her French accent. She's playing his old French teacher.
Surprised by your call. And happy. You know you were always a favorite. My favorite student.
You're a favorite of mine.
Oh, I know now.
We should, head to the bedroom.
Patrick Wheeler. Hey. What a treat to see you today.
Right, Menzies. This is a friend of mine from high school.
Yeah, absolutely. The old orange and blue.
Yeah, right. Is this your car?
You know, you're lucky I ran into you today.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I have 2 extra tickets for the concert tonight that I would be honored to give you.
Oh, great. So, what concert's that? The thing downtown?
Oh, you didn't hear? It's my concert. I finally got my recital tonight, 11 sharp, Petrolia Hall.
Really? Well, that's really prestigious. We all knew you had it in you.
Spent all day driving around, me and my cousin Ernie, looking for a tux. Mine was ruined. Show him the tux, Ernie.
Great, thanks.
Finally found one at Harry Rosen. Harry Rosen, of all places.
Right. Okay, well, that's the thing. My friend here needs a lift.
Uh-huh. Well, I guess we could drive her, but it's only 3 blocks.
Right, but she's going across town.
Oh.
But if you're finished with the car...
Patrick, I need it, at least until the show. You know, Ernie might have to run errands or load equipment in. You know how concerts are.
Right.
I'd love to help you out. And your friend, she looks like a movie star. But I only have 1 car.
Right.
Not like Craig's Willer.
Well, good luck then. Break a leg.
I'll keep them. In case you're in the neighborhood.
Patrick, I really appreciate all your help.
Listen, my pleasure.
One second.
Yeah? What is it? Craig, it's me, Patrick. I have to ask you a favor.
What is it? I'm busy.
Let me in. It's important.
Everything is important today. 10 minutes.
Patrick Wheeler, look at you. Look like you're waiting for the principal again.
Madame Carlton.
And what have you been up to, Patrick? Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé depuis le temps?
J'étais un architecte dans un bureau d'architecture. You know my job?
Oui, bravo.
Je n'ai jamais fait quelque édifice moi-même, not actually built.
Oui, oui.
Mais j'ai travaillé, j'ai fait beaucoup de dessins et j'ai travaillé sur beaucoup de projets avec les autres architectes.
L'important, c'est d'y mettre l'effort et de rêver.
The important thing is to put in the effort and to dream. And I would say that is...
Well, French was never your forte.
Also the advice I would have for you as your professor today.
Au revoir.
We'll just leave this
Adieu.
almost religious image. As she says adieu, which means Dieu means God. To God is the direct translation of adieu. There's something religious about that image that I love.
Fuck off.
So, not bad. Not bad, eh, Mrs. Carlton?
No, I was referring to what's her name?
Sandra.
Yeah, not bad. Come on, don't be modest.
No, I barely know her.
Even better, you dog.
No, she's a stranger. I helped her find a car.
And that's it? What's the matter with you? I saw the way she was looking.
You gonna be okay out there?
Yeah, sure. It's just a couple blocks.
Yeah. Can you do me one favor before you go?
Sure.
Come in. Patrick, have a seat. I was trying to give you a hint up there by showing you the list, but I guess you don't read too well, right? I forgot.
Huh?
Man, you're stupid. Do you want to have sex? That was down at the bottom of the list. I mean, there were certain acts that could only be done with other men. That necessarily wouldn't include anal sex, because I already did that, but, you know, there are other things. I mean, there's
Right, I understand.
Patrick, I like you. I mean, I always have.
And I like you, too.
And to be perfectly honest, I never thought of you that way. I mean, but that idea of sex with other men, you know, it crossed my mind, as it has done with most of us, probably.
Of course.
So, here's our chance. I mean, you could do worse.
I thought you had a date.
I do.
So we don't have much time.
It's not going to take that long.
Come on, you've already done this. I don't know how many times today. It's going to take some time.
Are you being judgmental?
No, I'm not.
There's no judgment here, because I don't have time for that.
No, I'm not.
I'm putting myself on the line here.
And I'm flattered. I'm moved by it.
I don't fucking condescend to me.
I would do it. If you asked me any other time, I swear. I always thought I should, you know. If you'd given me some time to prepare psychologically, and some time after, a couple months.
I knew it, you're a wuss.
It's nothing personal. It's nothing to do with you. I would say the same thing to a woman. It's just sex. Today, I just don't.
Wuss.
It's nothing personal. It's nothing to do with you. It's psychologically, and some time after, a couple months.
I knew it, you're a wuss.
It's nothing personal. It's nothing to do with you. I would say the same thing to a woman. It's just sex. Today, I just don't want to risk having bad sex today. Just don't want that to be the last thing on my mind.
And you think I'm fucked?
But I love you.
And I love you, pal.
Okay.
Mercy fuck your skinny ass. What was I thinking?
Your dreams, pal.
Fuck on home.
Oh, I forgot to mention I saw Menzies just around the corner. I'm sure he'd be game.
Oh, really? Fuck off.
Okay, I will. See ya.
No, you won't.
Good luck. Fag.
Coming up on the last hour, and we've reached number 12 on the top 500 of all time, according to me, right? So don't bother calling in. This time, it's my choice.
Did you know I'd go to sleep and leave the lights on? Hoping you'd come by and know that I was home, still awake. But 2 years go by and still my lights on. This is hard for me to say, but this is all that I can take. Is the last it's the last time.
Hey, this is for pedestrians! Get out of the way! Get off the car! Get off the car!
Come looking for the light.
Hey, baby! Hey! Where you going? When you have some fun with us, come on!
Just go away.
Come on,
okay?
baby!
Just go away.
You understand the virtues of fun. Come on! When you have some fun with us. Come on,
Leave me alone.
Leave me. Come on! I just want you to have a little fun.
I just want
you to be happy. I don't think you understand. What? Leave her alone!
She doesn't want to party!
Thank you. I can handle myself.
Are you okay?
I've got a gun!
Okay.
Come on, let's go.
Take care.
Forget about it. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting for him. Hey, who was that?
A lady.
Oh, yeah? Well, thanks anyway. I thought it was a friend of my brother's. He used to collect cars like that.
Fuck.
Come on. Let's go.
Well, where's this party anyway, huh?
Let's go.
Ignore them, darling. Ignore them.
Fighting, swearing, and tearing asunder the monuments of civilization. Closer to home, over 600 would-be rock stars joined with Randy Bachman in North York for the world's largest guitar jam. Here they are learning the chords to Taking Care of Business. A great song. We now continue with our live coverage from Nathan Phillips Square, where hundreds of thousands of people are now converging to celebrate and to mourn. Thanks again to Hank the Hammer Adletsky for braving the crowds, and of course to our own Terry Olin, who's manning the control board and
operating the camera, basically keeping me on the air. You're doing a fantastic job, Terry. Fantastic job, really. Take a bow. Earlier on, for those who have been following, we had an address from the mayor, from the premier, and we still expect the Prime Minister to make an appearance on the main stage.
What do you want?
Hey, nothing.
Come on, Marty, let's just go.
Don't move.
Marty, forget it. We gotta go
Shut
downtown.
up.
Come on, Marty, forget it. Let's just get out of here.
Shut up.
Marty, we don't have time.
Shut up.
Great, this is fantastic.
Shut up.
I think his lines are very interesting in connection to his films. And his demise is also interesting in connection to his films.
I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of what you can do.
Join with Scotland, Padania, and Euskadi, the new Basque nations, as among the
You're the one who's afraid.
countries to be founded on this planet. We'll give you a taste of what it's like there.
You're the one who's afraid.
A great deal of yelling and horseplay, still largely good-natured, I understand.
I love that silhouette. And you get the feeling that he should have stayed with the other girl at the gas company instead of just going home to enjoy some ice cream. Now you see that the gas is finally going out. And the girl who was there before, played by Don McKellar's wife, has also left to meet him. And in short, their story is that she is a virgin.
I understand they have become a little more rowdy, although there are no major incidents to report. Well, pop that champagne.
This is the only
It's now
gore
officially
we see in the entire
10 minutes
film, and they
until
gave
the
it
end
to
of the world.
David Cronenberg. Isn't that interesting?
Out on the streets, the crowds are getting pretty wild.
This is crazy. Okay, stand up. Stand up and take a look. Can you see it?
Sarah Polley, as I mentioned before, also became an incredible director. She's made great films, which we should have covered in this class.
Oh, what
So there you go.
We don't
This
have much time. I had a busy day. Like, 10 minutes, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera. Yo soy un hombre sincero.
Okay, we'll just watch the ending of the film.
How will I know?
You'll know.
How? It's never happened before. How will I know?
We'll know. It's too big. Wait till you're certain.
God, it's times like this when I really miss the night.
Mi verso es de un verde claro y de un carmín.
We saw this character running through the whole film saying, 1 hour left, 2 hours left.
Y de un carmín encendido.
Call for your help.
Que buscan el monte amparo.
She went to see the concert that the guy was putting on for the ending.
The words mean, I am a truthful man from the land of the palm trees. And before dying, I want to share these poems of my soul. The last verse says, Con los pobres de la tierra, the streams of the mountain, pleases me more than the sea.
So, this has been Canadian Culture Through Film. I'm Jason Rohde. I'm going to leave you now with something I put together some time ago that I never released, really. I just threw together a bunch of things that ended up on the cutting room floor, from my student films to later films, and made this little movie for myself to close a chapter in my life. And the message of everything I've ever done has always been the same, which is essentially to dream. Because every dream I've had, strangely enough, has come true. Even the most incredible ones. Even the ones that seem impossible for this reality, they end up coming true in some fashion or other. And much of these dreams were built from movies I saw as a child. And so I encourage you to do the same, to dream, to visualize your lives, the lives that are ahead of you, to picture your movie, essentially, and make it yours. All right. I've grown to love you from afar. I thank you so kindly for taking this journey on with me. I hope we stay in touch, and I guess that's it. Thanks again, gang. Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last time I told you everything that happened was completely true. I told you that I didn't remember anything. It's a lie. I remember everything. I wasn't here nor there. It's the camera that saw everything. I was a time back then when I thought filming it would make it true. It was all a lie. The essence of something that was never there. A story only you could tell yourself. You were someone else all along. It was the mirror looking at you. You can walk a million lives. 24 deaths a second. I've got to get out of this movie.